Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today is the disappearance day of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj and also the appearance day of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So I will read about the glories of these two devotees. So we'll begin with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we'll begin with Srila Ramachandra Kaviraj. Ramachandra Kaviraj. Ramachandra Kaviraj, the son of Sri Chiranjeeva Sen, eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya, appeared in Sri Khanda. Ramchandra Kaviraj was especially earnest, beautiful, intelligent, energetic, and enthusiastic, said one biographer. Although married, Ramchandra and his wife Ratanala had no material attachments. They stayed fully engaged in the loving service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They had no children. With steadfast devotion, he served his spiritual master, Srinivas Acharya. In Vrindavan, Sri Jiva Goswami gave him the title Kaviraj. So Ramachandra Kaviraj, this Kaviraj title is given by Srila Jiva Goswami. Kaviraj means the king of poets. He wrote the following beautiful verse. Prakashila Mahaprabhu Hare Krishna mantra Premera vadara kori borila samsara Andha avadhijata kore parsha Bindhu na podilo mukhe Ramachandra dasa. Sriman Mahaprabhu is so kind that he manifests the nectar of the Hare Krishna mantra. The holy name will free all souls from the cycle of birth and death, from lower planets, from hell. The holy name will give one a taste of divine love for Radha Madhav. Whether blind or dumb, anyone can drown in this flood of prema. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has filled everyone with love of God. But Ramchandra Das is so unfortunate that he could not even taste a drop of that nectar. So this is a verse written by Sri Ramachandra Kaviraj. Ramchandra Kaviraj was one of the 8 Kavirajas, famous poet disciples of Srinivas Acharya. Ramchandra wrote Smarana Darpana, Smarana Chamatkara, Siddhanta Chandrika. He preached widely and initiated many disciples. Narottam Das Thakur and Ramchandra lived together as best friends. So who is Ramchandra Kaviraj? He is a disciple of Srinivas Acharya. So Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya and Shyamananda Pandit were classmates, right? Studying under Srila Jiva Goswami. So Ramchandra Kaviraj is Narottam Das Thakur's friend's disciple, Srinivas Acharya's disciple. But he was very intimately, he had a very intimate friendship with Ramchandra Kaviraj, who was the disciple of his classmate. So, Narottam Das Thakur and Ramchandra lived together as best friends. Narottam Das wrote, Doya Kore Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramchandra Sangha Mage Narottam Das. O Srinivas Acharya Prabhu, please give me your mercy. Narottam Das always prays for the association of Ramchandra Kaviraj. In the form of Karna Manjari, he serves Srimati Radharani in Brajalila. So who is Ramchandra Kaviraj in Krishna Lila? He is Karna Manjari. His samadhi is in Dhira Samira Kunj next to Srinivas Acharya. Okay. So we will also read about the life of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj. This is his biography. Srila Narottam Das Thakur Mahashay has sung, O Acharya Prabhu Srinivas, please bestow your mercy upon me. I pray that I might also have the association of Ramachandra. Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj was the disciple of Srinivas Acharya Prabhu and the very intimate friend of Narottam Das Thakur. His father was Chiranjeeva Sena and mother Sri Sunanda. Chiranjeeva was originally an inhabitant of Kumaranagar, but after marrying the daughter of Sri Damodar Kavi, he moved to Srikhanda. Chiranjeeva Sen was a pure devotee, very much loved by Narahari Sarkar. So you remember Srikhanda, Raghunandan Thakur, Narahari Sarkar and Mukunda Sarkar. They are all Khandavasis, resident of Srikhanda. So Chiranjeeva Sen moved to Srikhanda. Originally he was from Kumaranagar, but after marrying Sunanda Devi, he moved to Srikhanda. And there Narahari Sarkar and other residents very much loved Chiranjeev Sen, who was a pure devotee. He was extremely learned in all matters, and his wife was very chaste and gentle. Her activities were completely transcendental. This is from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 11, text 92. Sri Mukunda, Narahari, Raghunandan, and Chiranjeeva, who were all residents of Srikhanda, were of one mind and one purpose. Every year they would come to Nilachal to have darshan of Mahaprabhu and to chant and dance in front of Lord Jagannath during Rath Yatra. Chiranjeeva was from a family of physicians. His two jewel-like sons were Ramchandra and Govinda. Later they both became disciples of Acharya Prabhu, means Srinivas Acharya. Ramchandra and Govinda. They became disciples of Srinivas Acharya and came to reside at Telia Budari Gram in Murshidabad. Ramchandra was very handsome, intelligent, and perseverant. His maternal grandfather, Sri Damodar Kaviraj, that means his mother's father, Sunanda's father, Damodar Kaviraj, was a well-known poet who was a worshipper of Krishna's energy, Shakti, and was initiated in this cult. After their father passed away, the two brothers, Ramchandra and Govinda, came to live with their grandfather, who practiced the Shakta religion. Being influenced by him, both became inclined to worship the various personified forms of Maya, Krishna's external deluding potency. At this time, Ramchandra practiced medicine because by profession they were physicians and was also quite well known as an accomplished poet. After his marriage, Ramchandra was carried in a palanquin with his new bride to his home at Kumarnagar. As the procession passed Srinivas Acharya Prabhu's house at Jajigram, so they were after marriage, Ramchandra was carried in palanquin with his new bride to his home at Kumarnagar. So on the way was Jajigram, which was the town in which Srinivas Acharya Prabhu lived. So as the procession passed Srinivas Acharya Prabhu's house at Jajigram, he saw the Acharyas seated on the veranda of his house, discussing Krishna Katha with some of his disciples. Simply upon seeing the Acharya, he felt a strange, new emotion dawn in his heart. It was as though he was seeing a very dear friend after a long time of separation. Similarly, Acharya Prabhu, upon seeing Ramachandra seated in the palanquin, immediately inquired from those who were present with him, "Who is that? What is his name? Which Varna, caste he belongs to? And where does he reside?" This is from Bhakti Ratnakar, chapter 8, text 530. His associates replied, "He's a great scholar of the name Ramachandra. He's very excellent poet as well as a physician and resides at Kumarnagar." Hearing this, Acharya Prabhu simply smiled. His associates replied, "He's a great scholar of the name Ramachandra. He's very excellent poet." Achha, we read that already. Okay. Ramchandra Sen, so his father is Chiranjeeva Sen, so Ramchandra's surname is Sena. So Ramchandra Sen, still seated within the palanquin, after seeing Srinivas Acharya and hearing his sweet voice, became extremely anxious to meet him. After a short time, the procession reached the house where much pomp and celebration took place. Everyone was overjoyed to see the new bride, Ratnamala. Ratnamala, that's the wife of Ramchandra. And a great din and bustle ensued in welcoming her and her bridegroom into their new home. Ramchandra's mind, however, was still back at Jajigram, where he had seen that divine personage. With great difficulty, he somehow or other passed the day there. But with the fall of night, he returned to Jajigram, where he passed the night in the house of one Brahman. With the approach of morning, he came to Srinivas Acharya's house and fell down at the Acharya's feet to offer his prostrated obeisances. Srinivas Acharya Prabhu had similarly been continuously thinking of Ramchandra ever since he had seen him the day before. Upon seeing Ramchandra again prostrated before him, he picked him up and embraced him in deep ecstasy. Then he told him, "Birth after birth, you are my most dear friend. In the same way that the Lord caused my meeting with Sri Narottam Das Thakur at Vrindavan, he has also reunited me with another dear friend." Ramchandra stayed with Acharya Prabhu, Srinivas Acharya, and studied the literatures of the 6 Goswamis under his tutorship. So if you remember, Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Pandit were given this very important service of taking the books of the 6 Goswamis. So they took these books in bullock carts to be copied and distributed. So they were the first book distribution party, the 3 of them. So this is Srinivas Acharya. And he personally, he studied these books directly under Srila Jiva Goswami. So now this Ramchandra Sen is studying under Srila Srinivas Acharya. Yeah, he's studying under Srila Srinivas Acharya. What is he studying? The books of the Goswamis. So Ramchandra stayed with Acharya Prabhu and studied the literatures of the 6 Goswamis under his tutorship. Acharya Prabhu was extremely pleased to see his gentle and polite behavior and his deeply spiritual nature. On the next auspicious day, he initiated Ramchandra with Radha Krishna mantra. After some time, Ramchandra returned to his house. When the Shaktas saw he had been initiated into Vaishnava religion, they became very upset. Ramchandra, however, was undaunted. With tilak on his body in 12 places and a japamala in his hand, he sat down in front of them and began to chant the holy names. One day, as Ramchandra was proceeding to his house after having taken his bath, his Shakta neighbors called him. Kaviraj, without worshipping Lord Shiva, how is it that you are going home? Your grandfather was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Have you given up Lord Shiva's worship? Ramchandra replied, Lord Shiva and Brahma are incarnations of two of the material modes created by Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna himself is the source of all incarnations. Therefore, by worshipping Lord Krishna, everyone's worship is performed, just as by watering the roots of a tree, all the leaves and branches become nourished. Prahlad, Dhruva, Vibhishan, and others were dear devotees of Sri Krishna. Therefore, Lord Shiva and Brahma were naturally favorably disposed to them. Whereas Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Banasur, and other demons were only devotees of Lord Shiva and not devotees of Lord Krishna. Thus, their ultimate end was to simply be destroyed. The Shastras say that Lord Brahma was able to create this world due to having successfully worshipped Sri Vishnu. Similarly, Lord Shiva has become qualified to invoke auspiciousness in this world due to having received the foot wash water of Lord Vishnu, Ganges, on his head. Having heard these various statements from the Shastras, those scholars remained speechless. Ramchandra became very anxious to have darshan of Sri Vrindavan and the Goswamis there. He petitioned Sri Raghunandan and various other Vaishnavas for their permission, which they readily gave. Thus, on the next day, he set out for Sri Vrindavan Dham. After passing through Gaya, Kashi, and Prayag, he finally arrived at Mathura. There he took bath and some rest at Vishram Ghat. After taking darshan of the Adikeshava temple, he started for Vrindavan. At this time, his guru Srinivas Acharya was present at Vrindavan. Ramchandra offered his prostrated obeisances at the lotus feet of his Guru and Sri Jiva Goswami and conveyed the good news of the devotees from Gaudadesh. As ordered by Sri Jiva Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Ramchandra took darshan of Sri Govinda, Sri Gopinath, Sri Madan Mohan, and Sri Sanatan Goswami's Samadhi. Then he offered his respects to Sri Gopal Bhatta, Sri Lokanath, and Sri Bhugarbha Goswami, who were very pleased with him and who offered him their benediction. Hearing some samples of his great poetic ability, everyone decided to present him with the title Kaviraj. This is also from Bhakti Ratnakar, chapter 9, text 214. After remaining in the Goswamis' association for some days, they finally instructed him to return to Gaudadesh. And so he returned, visiting Sri Khanda, Jajigram, Karadaha, and Kalna on the way. Finally, he came to Sri Mayapur, where he received the blessings of Sri Ishan Thakur. Who is Ishan Thakur? The servant of Sachimata. One time, some Smartha Brahmanas made a conspiracy to defame the name of Srila Narottam Das Thakur Mahashay. They were very upset that though he was only a Kayastha by caste, he accepted those born in Brahmana families as his disciples. They enlisted Raja Narasimha and the conquering Pandit Sri Rupa Narayan in a crusade to somehow expose Narottam Das as a fraud. In a large party, they made their way to Kheturi, where Srila Narottam Das had his headquarters. Coming to know of this conspiracy, Sri Ramachandra and Sri Ganga Narayan Chakravarti came forward to meet their challenge. They journeyed to Kumarapur where they each set up two small shops in the market. One, a pan and betel nut shop, and the other, a store selling clay pots. When the party of Smarta Brahmanas arrived at Kumarpur and sent their disciples out to purchase wares for cooking their meals, right, buying some pots for cooking, the students came to those shops. The shopkeepers, who were actually Ramchandra and Ganganarayan in disguise, spoke to them in Sanskrit. So they were quoting the prices of the pots and pan in Sanskrit. They were talking to the customers in Sanskrit and began to raise a philosophical dispute with them. Seeing the profound learning of those two shopkeepers, the students were dumbfounded. These were Brahmanas, by the way. They were dumbfounded, but nevertheless took up the challenge. After just a short time, however, it became obvious that they were no match for these shopkeepers. They called for their gurus, who arrived on the scene with Raja Narasimha and Rupanarayan. Rupanarayan himself was drawn into the debate and was defeated by the Bhagavat-based arguments of Ramchandra and Ganganarayan. When the king requested their introduction, those two shopkeepers informed him that they were two extremely insignificant disciples of Srila Narottam Das Thakur Mahashay. Having met defeat in this village marketplace, Rupanarayan and the Smarta Brahmanas were no longer interested in proceeding onward to Keturi. Their crusade evaporated as they all decided to return immediately to their respective homes. So you understood what happened here? Some people were envious of Narottam Das Thakur. That Narottam Das Thakur is initiating those who Narottam Das Thakur by birth belonged to a Kayastha caste. Kayastha is a lower caste. But he is making disciples from the Brahman community. This is a big offense like that. So they wanted to defame Narottam Das Thakur. So for that they got the authorities, right? They got the king and they got another big Rup Narayan, like a great Pandit, like Rajguru or someone, and they brought, and their idea was they will bring him there, they will bring both these authorities directly to Narottam Das Thakur's village where he is residing, to Keturi, and they will engage in a debate and they will completely defame Narottam Das Thakur and stop him from, initiating further. Like that. That was their idea. So our Ramachandra Kaviraj and Ganganarayan, they understood what was happening. So on the way, before reaching Keturi, in one village called Kumarpur, they just set up some shops, pretending like they were shopkeepers. And even though they were just shopkeepers, means Vaishyas, right? But they completely, in philosophical debates in Sanskrit, defeated these learned scholars who were going to go to debate with Narottam Das Thakur. And when they saw that ordinary shopkeepers are so learned, the disciples of Narottam Das Thakur, who are just ordinary shopkeepers, are so learned, how learned must this Narottam Das Thakur be? They are quoting from Bhagavatam and they completely defeated our arguments. Seeing this, everyone simply went back. They didn't even have the guts to proceed to Narottam Das Thakur's place. So that night, after Raja Narasimha had returned to his house, he had a dream in which Durga Devi told him, so they were all Shaktas. Durga Devi told him, Narasimha, you have committed a great offense at the feet of Narottam Das Thakur. As a result of this Vaishnava aparad, I will have to cut you all to pieces with this chopper. If you want to save yourself, then you had better immediately go and take shelter at Narottam Das Thakur's lotus feet. When his sleep broke, the king quickly took his bath and set out for Keturi. Rupanarayan had a similar dream and was also proceeding towards Keturi at the same time. They met upon their arrival there and approached the temple of Sri Gauranga in order to meet Narottam Thakur. Thakur Mahashay was absorbed in his bhajan, but when a disciple informed him of the arrival of the two guests, he came out to meet them. Simply by seeing his transcendental form, imbued with Krishna Prema, the two offenders became purified and fell down to offer their obeisances at Thakur Mahashaya's feet. Thakur Mahashaya very humbly presented himself as being a fallen soul. Finally, he initiated them with Radha Krishna mantra. Many sinful atheists were delivered by Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj. He was present at the Keturi festival. So, you know the Keturi festival? This was after the disappearance of Gaurang Mahaprabhu and even the Rup Sanatan Goswamis. So Narottam Das Thakur, so Janava Devi, right, the consort of Nityananda Prabhu, she held a festival, Gaur Purnima festival uh, in Keturi. And there in that kirtan, uh, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with all his associates, personally appeared. This is the great festival of Keturi. So many sinful atheists were delivered by Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj. He was present at the Keturi festival. He came to Vrindavan a second time on the order of Srinivas and Narottam, but this time he could not have darshan of the Goswamis as they had all departed this world for Golok Vrindavan. That means he couldn't even get the darshan of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Jiva Goswami, whose darshan he got before. He couldn't get even their darshan. And Bhugarbha Goswami, Loknath Goswami, he couldn't get their darshan. They had all departed. Feeling separation from them, he was very distressed at heart. Unable to tolerate that pain, he joined them in their eternal pastimes there in Vrindavan. That means he didn't return home from there. He also entered into the Nitya Leela, gave up his body here. Unable to tolerate that pain, he joined them in their eternal pastimes there in Vrindavan. So that is today, the disappearance day of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj. In Brajalila, his name is Karuna Manjari. Karuna Manjari. We thought Karuna Manjari, right? Karuna Manjari. His disappearance is on the third day of the dark fortnight in the month of Pausha, which is today. His principal disciple was Hariram Acharya. The deities worshipped by Ramchandra and Govinda Kaviraj have been brought from Jelia Hudargram to Bhagavan Gola, where they are at present being worshipped by the followers of Ramdas Babaji. There is a station at Bhagavan Gola on the Sialda Lal Gola rail. So these are the deities of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj. It says, as ordered by Srila Jiva Goswami, Ramchandra took darshan of Sri Govinda, Sri Gopinath, Sri Madan Mohan, and Sri Sanatan Goswami Samadhi. Okay, no, these are the deities that he took darshan of in Vrindavan. Okay, Sri Govinda, Sri Gopinath, and Sri Madan Mohan, and also Sanatan Goswami's Samadhi. Okay, so his deities' pictures are not given then. No, okay. There's one more, but maybe we can stop here. Or let's see. If it's just a repetition, then we won't read. Okay, this is another biography of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj. Ramchandra, a king amongst poets, was born in the town of Sarajani on the banks of the Ganges as the son of Sunanda and Chiranjeev Sen, a well-known minister of the king of Gauda. So he was a minister, his father was a minister, a devotee of the Brahmins and Vishnu. Ramchandra was not in any way different from Narottam Das Thakur. So this is from Sangeeta Madhava Nataka, quoted in Bhakti Ratnakar. Chiranjeev Sen was a resident of Srikhanda, whose wife's name was Sunanda. They had two sons. The older was Ramchandra, the younger Govinda. Ramchandra was a disciple of Srinivas Acharya, who took the title Kaviraj. His Siddha name was Karuna Manjari. After the death of his father, Ramchandra went to live in Kumar Nagar with his maternal grandfather, Damodar Kaviraj, who was a disciple of Narahari Sarkar. Later, he went his younger brother Govinda to live in the village of Telia Budhari in Murshidabad district. This place has the distinction of being his Shripat. The Kaviraj title, how he got the Kaviraj title. Okay. Srinivas Acharya was so overcome with affection for Ramchandra that he gave him the Diksha mantra and engaged him as his personal servant. Though Bir Hambir, you know, Bir Hambir is the dacoit king who had stolen the books of the three devotees, Srinivasa Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Pandit. In their ox cart, they were carrying all the books of the Goswamis. Those books, that box containing all the books, was stolen by this Birambir, and later on he becomes a disciple. So, though Birambir became Srinivasa Acharya's disciple, Ramchandra acted as his Shiksha Guru. Ramchandra also visited Vrindavan, where he associated with Jiva Goswami and the other Vaishnavas, receiving their blessings. They were very pleased to hear his poetry, so much so that Jiva Goswami gave him the Kaviraj title. He thus became one of the 8 Kavirajas, Ashta Kaviraj. He was Narottam Thakur's favored companion for preaching activities and spiritual association. Paramananda Bhattacharya, an ocean of love, Jiva Goswami, and other residents of Raja listened to Ramachandra recite his own poetic compositions, and they joyfully awarded him the title of Kaviraj. Ramachandra Kaviraj was full of all virtues, and Narottam Das's second self. This is from Bhakti Ratnakar. Kamsari Sen, Ramasen, Ramachandra Kaviraj, and the 3 Kavirajas, Govinda, Sriranga, and Mukunda, are Nityananda's branches. Ramchandra wrote several books, including Smarana Chamatkar, Smarana Darpana, Siddhanta Chandrika, and Srinivas Acharyera Jivana Charita. Ramchandra in Vrindavan. Narahari Chakravarti has written an extensive description of Ramchandra in his visit to Vrindavan in the 9th wave of Bhakti Ratnakar. All the residents of Vraja who saw him were attracted by his physical beauty. When Ramchandra visited the Radha Damodar temple with Jiva Goswami and saw Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, he experienced ecstatic transformations that were a source of amazement to all. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Loknath Goswami, and Bhugarbha Goswami gave him their blessings. He went to bathe in Radhakund and Shyamakund and met Raghunath Das Goswami there. When he paid obeisances to Raghunath, the venerable saint affectionately embraced him. Ramchandra's friendship with Narottam Das Thakur has been immortalized by Narottam Das's prayer to Srinivas Acharya for his association. Daya karo Sri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das. Please be merciful, Prabhu Srinivas Acharya. Narottam Das begs for Ramchandra's association, like that. And also, I pay my obeisances to Narottam and Ramchandra, who are devoted to all those who have dedicated their lives to the Supreme Lord, who help people cross over the ocean of material life, who know all the scriptures completely and have understood all the transcendental doctrines, who most generously distributed Bhakti Rasa and won the hearts of the atheists, who are deeply attached to each other's affectionate company. This is also quoted in Bhakti Ratnakar. Ramchandra's disappearance day is the Krishna Tritiya in the month of Magh. He passed away in Vrindavan after the disappearance of Srinivas Acharya. Okay, so Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj ki Jai.